Alright, I think I'm ready. Welcome to a fashionable conversation. I'm going to break down my fashion icon t-shirts. I call them designer tees because they're all designers or something to do with fashion, moguls, and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. The first one I'm going to start with is the Rick Owens tee that everybody's seen. It's the black and white. I'll pop it here. I'll start with him because he's from California, West Side. Gotta start with the original. And that's the dopest part about it for me. You have most of the high-end designers like from Italy or out of the States, not in the States. I think like in the up north or something. I can't tell you exactly, but he is a brand that has been making a statement for a couple years, and he's held his own weight on his own. I'm inspired by him because of how he's able to create and set the standard. Most of his designs is all black. If you own any Rick Owens, it's all black. Well, I can start with the fit. You see RJ in the fit here with the shirt and those pants. Those are Rick Owens pants. Those shoes, Rick Owens. Those shoes, Rick Owens. Pants, Rick Owens. Shirt is blow, but it's Rick Owens on a shirt. That's how we get everything to come back, so you guys can actually see or understand, because someone has hit me to get those pants. And those are not blow. Those are Rick Owens. You can go to the store right there on La Brea and get them if you want. Now, to be more specific with those, you see a lot of Rick Owens, a lot of copycats from the shoes to the pants. He has a signature pants, which is like kind of wide. You see the long drawstring, the two holes there, the double panels, the blah, blah, blah. His own cut. That's great. That's what I like. You see those and you know what it is. This is why I'm here, to school you guys. And if you own some Rick Owens, they're probably black. If you own any like crazy piece of Rick Owens, it's probably black. He is like the king of black, so to speak. So that is dope how he's able to just keep going and create and do all of this just with using black. Of course, there's other textures and stuff like that he uses, but that's what I'm going for. And another fun fact, which is very fun, which is kind of cool to me, is that his wife, Rick Owens' wife, is a big fan of V's, the artist V's, the rapper. Yeah, and that's kind of dope. So you can see how much of a culture expansion that they do, from Rick Owens being bisexual all the way to, his wife rocking with V's and the Detroit music. Let's go with the tee. Back to the t-shirt design. So as you can see here, it's the big Rick Owens face. I went with that one because if you know him, he's known for black and white, and that long hair. So you see the long black hair. I went with the designer tee over the eye. You see the little tattoo? Gave him a little tat right over the eye, just for a little taste. My taste, just for my taste, just to show he's a designer. That's how you see the signature. And then with the blow across the front, we did black because Rick Owens loves black. So I did black. Black. I think I will release it in black, like an actual black shirt. But for right now, it's black and white. And the last but not least, the topping on this is that Rick Owens is not owned by LVMH. I'll get into that later when we talk about the next one. The second designer tee that I'm going to break down to you guys is Dapper Dan. As you can see here, he's black. He's not a designer, so to speak, but he is. He is the king of luxury streetwear. The king, the originator, whatever you want to call it, the OG. Like, he's the first one who was turning designer, high-end designer prints into hip-hop fashionable stuff we wear now when we remix, and as well as the designer companies now create to look like Dapper Dan stuff. He's originally from Harlem, from New York. Dapper Dan started doing this in the 80s. A lot of this story is going to all connect. So Dapper Dan started in the 80s, remixing high-end brands, high-end designers. Took it from there and still doing it now. Now, I think he's done some collections and stuff with the actual brands and stuff, and they've gave him his flyers, but he is the originator. Now, as you can see with the print, you see he's all Gucci'd out, Gucci bucket hat, Gucci, I'm sure that's probably like a Gucci leather jacket, you know, the flare on the side, stripes. None of that was being designed by the Gucci designers at that time. But you can see some of it during now, like some of the style because of that. So the culture will always take over everything. And Dapper Dan is the culture. I went with the designer T print right on the top of the bucket hat because it's so clean and you gotta know, like, yeah, it's fresh. Double back. I did it in full color, of course, because just so you can see that Gucci stripe, just so you see it off the top. Gucci stripe. Boom. You know what it is. Gucci. Designer. High end. Then I went with the blow. Put the Gucci stripe on the blow just to mix everything together, just so you can understand where we're going with it. Dapper Dan is the king and the originator of the high-end luxury street fashion. And now remember when I said he started doing this in the 80s. So remember that. Remember, Dapper Dan started doing all the high-end fashion, all the high-end remixes and all that in the 80s. Had his own store, open 24/7, all that. Keep that in mind for the next one. I just wanted to give y'all some fun facts real quick that I couldn't remember. Let's start with Givenchy, Riccardo Tisci. I'm gonna just read here. You see Anna Wintour in her signature bob and oversized shades, in which I replaced with the word blue, of course. She's been shaping fashion as Vogue's editor-in-chief since 1988, making her one of the most powerful voices in the industry. And that is why I went with the designer tees. That's why I went with the designer tees across the neck, because she is the voice of the industry. Back to this Bernard Arnault. It's very minimal, like I said, black and white, clean. He is simple. He's the king, whatever. He's the chairman of LVMH, the empire behind Louis Vuitton, Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Celine, Loewe, Kenzo, Marc Jacob, Ramoa, Moet, Hennessy, Dom Perignon, Clicquot, Sephora, Fenty, Aquaparma, Tiffany, Bulgari, Tag. Oh my God, it's just so much. I'm gonna put this little. You see this? You see this breakdown? You see everything LVMH owns? That is crazy. That's like, this should be illegal, man. This is just ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Something has to change. And got a little minority stake in Hermes just because. Just because. All right, whatever. Where's and yes, he's the richest man in fashion. What I keep saying, Riccardo Tisci. He modernized Givenchy and later reinvented Burberry, pioneering the collision of streetwear and luxury fashion. Like I said, he brought you the rock roller tee. The seasons change. So that's where that one came from, Riccardo. And I think I did a pretty good job. I like that one. I do. I like that one. He is currently, like I said, at Burberry. Who knows how long or what he's going to be doing there. But that is Riccardo Tisci, who gave you guys the rock roller shirt. He gave you guys the Bambi, the Halo, the Star, these shirts were so many remixed and bootlegged so many times. I think y'all still do it. Yeah, people still bootleg it. But that's great. I love that he did that and y'all was able to reach out to actually see the change. And last but not least, Bernard Arnault. You see him. Yeah. I know y'all like, who is this man? Who is this? He is one of the richest men in the world. Like, come on. He's the owner of LVMH, the CEO, since 1987, 88, no, since 87. His father passed it down or whatever, business, blah, blah, blah. But he has been the CEO of LVMH since then. And is currently probably the richest man in the world. Now, let me break down LVMH to you guys. Because I'm going to go all the way back. Because I want to show you guys how all this connect, you know. LVMH is Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy. They own everything. It's pretty much just the luxury brand of everything from wines to watches, perfume, Fenty. I can name off everything that they own real quick. Just real quick. Let me show you real quick. Everything. Where is it at? I had it. Oh my God, it's crazy. Moet, Hennessy, Dom Perignon, Clicquot, Sephora, Fenty, Hublot, all your favorite brands, Tiffany, Christian Dior, Fendi, Givenchy. Clearly, when Riccardo was there, yes, he did own it. And that's how Riccardo was able to go to, on to the next, because it's like circulating basketball players. Loewe, Celine, Rimowa, the fucking suitcases, Marc Jacobs. Did I say Tiffany and Company already? Like everything. If it's high-end luxury, he owns it. My bad. If it's a high-end luxury company, Bernard Arnault owns it. He's the pretty much the richest man in the world. And so let me go back and double. Like I said, going all the way back to the first one I showed you, which is Rick Owens. Rick Owens is not owned by LVMH. That is one of the few companies that is not owned by LVMH. That is another reason why I fuck with him. He's from California, the West Side. So that's how that double ties back to that T, to the Rick Owens T. Now go to Dapper Dan, and we said Dapper Dan been cutting up designers since the 80s, like 85. This was before he owned LVMH. I mean, Louis Vuitton and Gucci was there, but it wasn't what they call it, a selective group or whatever they call it. And he's been cutting up designers before Bernard Arnault was LVMH. And now currently he's the richest man. So like Dapper Dan helped him get there. If it wasn't for Dapper Dan, who knows where LVMH would be at, because he converted the designers into the high end, from hip hop to, from luxury brand. I mean, from like high end streetwear. Basically, Dapper Dan was able to merge that high end luxury look that they only wanted certain people into our culture, which made everybody want our culture, want our brand. So now the high-end designers start designing like our culture. So we blame Bernard Arnault. I mean, we blame Dapper Dan. So that's how we tie in Dapper Dan. You see those two both tied into LVMH. Now let's go to Anna Wintour. Now, how I tie back to Anna Wintour into the with Bernard Arnault here. She's been the chief executive editor at Vogue since '88. He became LVMH in '87. And she's been there since. So I wonder if their relationship is like buddy, like, because she basically would, give the yes to those brands or make people, buy the brand. And he owns all the brands. So it's like, I'm sure it was some battles where, what is it? I'm sure some battles where Dior wasn't performing as well as Louis, and she wasn't liking, whatever the case, but he owns everything, so it doesn't even matter. So that's how both of those combine. You got Bernard Arnault, which is the owner of LVMH, the richest man in the world, and you have Anna Wintour, which is the CEO, which is the chief editor at Vogue since '88 and still is. Only if I had if you had good connections and good people, that's how easy stuff be. So, boom, circle all that around together. Now, the fourth one that ties into LVMH is, of course, Riccardo Tisci, which is, I told you, the design, he changed Givenchy. He is a designer. It ties back to Bernard Arnault because he owns Givenchy. And at the time, when Riccardo was there and that changed, that 12-year period, that change, it made LVMH the most money from one brand during that time period. So Givenchy, during their changeover, or now whatever you want to call it, during their upgrade, made the most money over I forgot what he said. I have notes, over 500 million. Dang, where it got? I left it. Made him over 500 million off of that. Oh yeah, I don't have it. I don't think. So when Riccardo was at Givenchy, he in that changeover, it upgraded him and it took off. Was the highest amount that LVMH has seen from one designer brand, and that's how Riccardo ties in to Bernard Arnault and the LVMH family. And let's go back to the Bernard Arnault design. I did him as well in black and white because it's simple. Black and white. He is the owner of LVMH, the CEO, and has been since the '88. So he owns all this fashion shit. It's simple. Why not? I would like to design for some of the brands, but I would like to be like Rick Owens. I wouldn't want LVMH to own me or whatever you want to call it, just because of that. But so back to Bernard Arnault. When I found out that LVMH was when I found out that all these designer brands and companies was owned by one company, it blew my mind. It took me back to when I was a kid and I love cars, and not a kid, but like a teenager. And I love cars. I was messing with driving cars, Acuras, to put the switches on them, the good paint job, shaved doors, all that, good interiors, leathers, piping, all that. I was into it. And then I found out that Toyota owns Lexus, Mercedes, like Honda. They're all like tiers under each other. Like, what? Honda is Acura? I thought, because I had an Acura and I would not shit on Honda people, but I got an Acura. But it's like it's all the same. Or I forgot the breakdown on how that. I know Toyota is Lexus, and Mercedes is, they're owned by each one. And that's how I felt when I found out about LVMH. When I found out, I've seen the letters before. I'm sure you've seen them, but to know that it stands for Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy is crazy. And that's what they call luxury goods. Could you imagine if that was the thing? And it was actually the thing before '87, because it was high end. So they grouped up. And then that's how they became that. But designer clothes and alcohol, cognac, was the luxury. And it became a luxury and still is. And when I found out they own all the designers, I just look at them a little different. Like this is that. Like it's the same. Like, but that what inspires me to know that. That's amazing for me. So I love that LVMH owns all of this shit, and you call it luxury. That's the luxury standard. And then you got Dapper Dan that's been cutting up all the luxury shit from. And it's kind of like the same with me. That's why I said this is part of inspiration, because I do the same thing with the designer stuff or with other stuff. I make stuff look designer. I bring it in and I cut it up and I put it on the fly people, you know what I'm saying? That, just like Dapper Dan was doing. I put it on. You see who I be. Yeah. So, that's my inspiration right there. And then Anna Wintour, like I said, go watch The Devil's Wear Prada, and that's where she comes in for me. Some people say I'm like the okay. You see the design for the Bernard Arnault. You see I went black and white with him because it's clear, it's black and white. He is the richest man in fashion, and that's black and white. And then the blow across the face, the signature blow, reverse, of course. If you look in the mirror, if you're wearing your shirt and you look in the mirror, the blow will read correctly. So when you're looking at it, you'll see things correct when you're looking at yourself. So Bernard Arnault, blow reverse backwards. And I did it in the water print because he is the flow of everything. Everything has to flow through him. I mean, unless you go the Rick Owens route, of course, and that's only rare, But he is the flow of thing, and that's why I went with the water flow. That is my 5 designs, my designer tee collection. Let me know what you guys think and what's your favorite one. Which one you got? You got the Anna Wintour, Bernard Arnault, Riccardo Tisci, Rick Owens, and Dapper Dan. Whichever one. Let me know which one you guys like best. Let me know if you guys learned anything. Tap in. Let me know if you have something to tell me about one of these. Give me a fun fact. I don't know everything. At least, well, yes, I kind of do, but, I think I do. So let me know.